The eyes are on the skies. It's a very powerful year of revelation, and a lot of people are looking up to the sky, especially right now. And one of the things that fascinates a lot of people are UFOs and us having first contact. And there's a spiritual aspect to it. There's also a mental aspect to it as well. And some people, they actually go searching. Did you know this, Light Warriors? Some people actually go searching for these UFOs and trying to keep their eyes on the sky. So today on this program, we're going to have a special guest once again. For the second time in a week, he travels up and down the coast with his drum, beating the drum, healing the masses. He literally goes around healing the masses. He beats the drum and he clears out all the energy. And while he does this, he actually goes forth and searches for, he's like, I guess, a UFO hunter as well. So let's bring back onto this very powerful program, the little drummer boy, the Brooklyn Shaman, Adam Gell. All right. Adam Gell is back. You've been going up and down the coast, huh?
I'm coming out of the green room. Yeah, well, we're heading towards Campo Bello, South Carolina, which is about 6 hours north of where we are now in St. Augustine, in search of, as Michael said, looking up into the sky and trying to find what lies beyond what we see with our two eyes. And it should be interesting.
What have your, some people, they want to have experiences with UFOs, and you've actually had some. So you want to talk about some actual experiences you've had?
Well, maybe I think it was about 2 years ago. I was on the beaches of New Jersey, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, with a full crowd of people there. I think on a July summer morning, afternoon. And as I looked up into the sky, I was like directed to look to the right. And as I looked up, I saw what looked like sort of like a drone, but then appeared to shapeshift into something like a flat disc. And as it was hovering maybe about 300-400 feet over the shoreline, it then went on a 45-degree angle up into the clouds. And I was astonished because at first you want to say, did anybody else see that? You want to look around and see if anybody had that experience, but then you recognize that you were either drawn to it for some particular reason, and then my eyes just went in that direction, and it just took me to that place. And I didn't think anybody else saw it.
And you originally were in New Hampshire. You had a experience that opened you up to all this?
What happened to me in New Hampshire, I was in the Franconia area. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that in New Hampshire. And the town, maybe it was Conway, I believe it is. In that area, I had somewhat of a vision as I was in the hotel room. I said to my girlfriend, I said, I think that something happened in this town. And the town is inhabited by just like a gas station and maybe like a grocery store or some type of like, a few shops. Sure enough, I just impulsively or intuitively went on my phone and I typed in the town I was in and UFO. And what happened was it was the first documented abduction with the Betty and Barney Hill story, which was seen on different aspects of the History Channel of Project Blue Book, which was the first abduction of two people. I think he was a postal worker and she was a social worker. And they were actually two professional people that reported what took place to the, I guess, officials and the government officials or whoever took notice. And what ironically is that right outside where I thought about this, there was a plaque that was actually documented by the state of New Hampshire as an official abduction. And those two people, Betty and Barney Hill, spoke about their journey of driving and actually being met by a ship. And I think the husband wasn't apprehensive. He was actually drawn to going towards it, and the wife told him to stay back. And it's well documented. You can look up that story. But so for me, going there was like the first aspect of me understanding the rabbit hole of what lies beyond, as we said, this particular dimension that we're in now. And then I had other experiences where I was driving on the New Jersey Turnpike, and it was winter months, and all of a sudden, as I went by the airport, it looked like almost like a Roman candle, like a blue Roman candle, tremendous, like exploded right over my car. And so I said to myself, it's not summertime. And I had that experience in that summer with that ship that I just mentioned. and now I had this experience. So for me, it was some type of connection of being drawn. What's interesting is that I've spoken to a lot of people who've had these types of experiences, and they say, as Michael has had specific orbs and lights behind him in the sky, which we noticed, was that, you know, it's not something that you are almost looking for. It's actually something that they're looking for. They're looking to gain the attention of people who have the potential, I assume, to maybe pass the word on and spread the word like we're doing right here now. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I always talk about, how you're just called to certain things. So it's interesting how you were called to that area, even though you didn't really know about that. And one thing leads to another. So even like for me earlier on my journey, it wasn't really UFO orbs, which we saw the one that was in the sky behind me in the video. But what actually fascinated me was the spirit orbs. And that, you know, I started seeing that. Sometimes you have a little taste of an experience, and it opens the door to other things. So you're really a lot of, and I guess for both of us, you know, we you know, kind of started off our everyday life, because that's really what this channel is about. And you kind of go through a spiritual journey, but there might be something that you have a firsthand experience of that you know, kind of gets the dominoes to start falling, and one comes after another. But yeah, like which I've shared with my audience, and we like looked at the footage as well. There was like a light orb that appeared behind me in one of my earlier videos. It actually happened a couple of times, and it just was like a plasma energy. So for me, I never physically saw it. So like you saw it with your own eyes, I only saw it. The camera was able to catch up on it. So as per that one, and you could see it was like a plasma ball. You think it's like like it's vibrating on a different frequency where the camera picks it up and our eyes don't pick it up?
Well, it's interesting because I just interviewed a woman from Norway, Tatiana Elverde, who spoke about, you know, she's the one who contacted me after I did a drumming session. As soon as I started to drum, she said to me, please check out this and this time frame on the video. And when I did, I saw the orbs floating behind me, right? It wasn't something like camera-like where there's a dust particle going in front of the camera. You could actually see behind, as what happened with Michael, you see an orb, a floating object go across. I would assume that there's different levels or different energies that are coming through. Some are more condensed, which look like a clear light, more of a clear light, and some are more spread out, like the one you had, which was almost more dispersed. So yeah, you know, in terms of the energies and the things that are visiting us, you know, we're being awoken to the fact that we're being supported. And for me, and as I watch other videos that Michael made with that happening, and myself, I see it's a confirmation that you're on the track of doing something positive, or you're being supported by the spirit world itself, and that's a form of it for me.
I think that you know, when people don't understand something, they have fear of it. But as you said, you know, something advanced like that, it's about really more of a positive energy. So, you know, maybe people, you know, shouldn't have or carry that negative. I mean, people watch like the movies, they always make everything scary in the movies, but that's really not the case. And, you know, we're going through a lot of changes and awakenings. You see, like sometimes they reveal certain footage. I saw some interesting footage that was released. I'm sure you did as well. But when we think of the mental aspect, so this is really a powerful year. We know that this eclipse is bringing on a big shift, and, you know, like dealing with first contact or revelations. It's really a big year and time period of revelations. How do you think society would react to first contact, or something that's more, you know, some people maybe deny it, or like they see the footage. So, but if there was something that's very like first contact, how do you think society would react to having like first contact?
Well, in my opinion, I think people, for example, who are on this path of raising their level or raising their frequency, are already in the understanding of finding people that they resonate with. And when you resonate with certain people, the things that you're learning or teaching here and the things that we're speaking about are on a similar frequency of UFO or what lies beyond this earth itself. So I think for the people who are, you know, on the path of opening themselves up, they would question less of what we're discussing now. But people who are denying things would be people who are denying every aspect of maybe spirituality, of thinking that anything lies beyond what we think that that we're connected to here. So I think people would be denial because, first of all, for religious reasons, I think religiously people have this fixed notion that they're raised in a protocol of thinking that anything that would challenge that their religion would create a great conflict for them. So I think it's important for people to, first of all, be open. And as we mentioned earlier before, like the biggest deniers are the biggest eventually believers, because they're so blocked off with their ego that they don't want anything to penetrate them or challenge the system that they know or they're familiar with. So I think it would be, I think it would be a big stress for a lot of people.
It's fascinating to see like how there are just like so many different people that have experiences, and you spoke about one, and you had a few people on your channel that you interviewed that had experiences. Are there any specific interviews or examples that really stuck out to you?
Well, yeah, there's a few. I've interviewed a few people who have a great expertise in the subject. They're researching the different people who've had their experiences, and it's interesting of how much information there is from every specific country, and every experience that these people have is borders on a similarity. For example, to the abductions, where people either have, first of all, besides abductions, near-death experiences, when people have NDEs. What they do is they experience these tall beings that are in their presence. Some of them think they're spirit guides, but others see that they're long, tall figures that look alien-like with big eyes. And other people who've been abducted have been taken aboard ships and have been almost paralyzed, which sounds kind of like scary, but actually paralyzed in a sense, I guess, to calm the person down so that they can either shift the person's energy or do some type of healing for some people. On the subject of healing specifically, some people I know, they couldn't walk, and they saw alien beings in their room that actually fixed the specific ailment. They saw hands coming towards them and actually working on the area that was in trouble. And then after that incident, they were able to walk, which is amazing. A lot of them are here to do healing. A lot of them are to probably, it sounds strange, but what do you call it? Immaculate conception. I interviewed two people who had immaculate conception. They wound up having an experience where they felt something was in the room, and then they went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "You're pregnant," and they said, "How's that possible?" She said, "I wasn't intimate with anyone," and sure enough, the person said, "I felt there was a presence, an alien presence in my room. They felt the energy of it." Went to the doctor the next time, and the baby was gone. Wow. Another person, the same thing. The person was an airline stewardess. Worked for a popular airline, was fascinated with that subject. One night in bed, she feels this presence, alien presence, in her mind's eye, the vision of somebody or something that looked like that. And then sure enough, the next time she woke up, within a few weeks, she felt morning sickness, went to the doctor. The doctor said, "You're pregnant." She said, "How's that possible? I wasn't intimate with anybody." And she wound up, a few weeks later, the baby was gone. So there's probably a hybrid program, a program of producing certain offspring, or using the uterus as a means for whatever type of work that they're doing, or whatever type of expansion, which sounds kind of crazy, but when in terms of, as Michael just mentioned, we speak about challenging the religious system. I've also heard people who, when you speak about Jesus Christ, not to say that I'm going to challenge any religious beliefs, but as Jesus, we know, was an immaculate conception, right, through Mary. I've spoken to shamans in Ecuador who said that they saw Jesus, as well as these people who have also seen him and described him as, as a presence from above in the form of a human form. So it's just all these stories are very fascinating. Abductions, people going on ships and being taken up, and then seeing the earth as the size of a tennis ball, not seeing anybody in the ship, but hearing voices telepathically communicating with them what they're doing, and they'll bring them back after they have to do what they need to do.
It's interesting, and now people to have the courage, because you do interviews, and these are, from his interviews that he does, people they didn't have a place to talk to because, you know, they get gaslit or, you know, no one will believe me. I mean, I felt like that too sometimes. I've never had anything major, but anything like, it's like you have an experience and you're like, oh, I want to tell people, and people might not believe you. So that's important as well. Just a side, because we were talking about it the other day. So like with the visions, because that's how we got on the conversation. You have any thoughts on inner Earth? Inner Earth?
Well, we discussed it a little bit. I know that I've spoken to people who are well respected who've been on ships that went under the ground into the earth tunnels with ships. This person, Hacho Castillo, who's a world-known shaman, you know, and has nothing. People don't have anything to gain by sharing information that could shame them. But you know, when they're in the company of the right people, then they could do that. And so he spoke about going in a ship in the Andes Mountains. And being taken underground into a particular passageways. And he didn't describe it any further, but he left it at that. So that holds true to the point you just made.
Yeah. I feel in anything in life, it's really about getting past fear. So like when I talk about the scale of consciousness, it's really important. Anyone that's actually listening to this is to get to the point of acceptance. So acceptance is basically like about halfway through the chart. But then when we get to fear, guilt, and shame, like people could shame, you know, some of the stories, I mean, I'm listening to it too, and it sounds far out there, but that's why we should never shame people, because that puts, it's actually below fear. So people, when we were discussing first contact, people might be afraid they could see an alien or something that's different. And you could have fear. But if we get to acceptance, we start to just accept things. Obviously, we want to go higher up the scale of the truth is the highest. But really getting to a point, there's so many things. This is really a year of revelation. There's so many things that are being revealed. It's really powerful to get to a place of acceptance. And when we're at a place of acceptance, we're able to accept the information, not with fear. And, you know, almost take more of a neutral, which I felt too. What are your thoughts on being neutral on things?
Well, it makes it easier because sometimes if you tip the scale at anything, then you're out of balance. And so even with information, even the information I share is probably not digestible, you know, to the common person. And I respect and understand that. However, when you hear story after story after story from people who don't know each other saying the same thing and who have nothing to, you know, gain by sharing their story, and it shows me that, you know, as Michael just mentioned, the word acceptance. Acceptance is such an important aspect of hearing somebody and not putting up a wall. It doesn't have to be with the subject we're talking about now, but it has to be to listen to people and hear what they have to say and have an open mind. And then you could always come up to your own conclusion after you've done that.
So where are you headed now to hunt the UFOs?
Yeah, well, I'm going to Campo Bello, South Carolina, and if you look up on that particular map, you could see the different. They show specific ships that have been spotted in that area. I mean, I like the mountain area, so I'd like to go there first off. But I'm also going, as Michael just said, to UFO hunt, so to speak, right?
You'll shoot a video when you put on a channel?
I'll shoot a video and I'll share it with the audience, and hopefully I'll see something. Something will pass by. It's very interesting. We think of shooting stars, but sometimes it's not just shooting stars that come, you know, go across the sky if we pay attention to it.
Sometimes I put out, I want to see it. I picture my light ship like hovering over the beach when I'm at the beach. But you actually had the experience on the beach.
It's interesting because I also, you know, our dreams, obviously premonitions, right? Many people have premonitions. Many people are in touch with their dreams, and what they dream has a significance. So I've had a dream, which was interesting. I've shared it with you, where a ship came by with pink and violet lights with a woman's voice calling my name and saying hello to me. And it were other people who were trying to push me back and not see it. And the people who were trying to push me back and not see it were the workforce that I worked with years ago, which was the mindset that I felt was in place to begin with. And so it was actually showing that people don't want to see the truth in the dream, but also the fact that the ship came by calling my name with 2 moons in the sky. I think you spoke about the 2 moons, as well as other people who've actually seen that in their visions as well.
Did she call you Adama?
She didn't
I had a dream too. I actually shared it on the channel. This is going back a few years ago, and it was one of those vivid dreams. You know, sometimes I have vivid dreams. Lately, especially with the eclipse, I've been having more vivid dreams. I don't know if you are as well, but I had a dream, and it was like two moons, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, there's two moons!" And it was so vivid. It wasn't that much, but just seeing the two moons. But and anyone that's listening, you might get like lucid or vivid dreams. So that was actually something that really stuck with me, and seeing two moons. I don't know what it means, if there's two realities, or you know, like sometimes we're actually seeing both realities at once, or maybe they're all.
I just, it's interesting when you said, what just came to my head is that it's actually two different portals closing in on each other or separating from one another. Maybe we're moving, as Michael speaks about the ascension, right? And moving out of this timeline to a different timeline, just like, you know, the eclipses, the sun and the moon and the earth are aligned in a certain pattern. But now in that dream, the moon was pulling away. So maybe in some capacity, it's showing that we're separating from something.
Yeah.
Or coming closer to maybe, you know, something as well.
Yeah. I feel too, which I've shared, it's almost like when you look at everything in life, and that's why it's really important to keep more of a positive mindset, because our frequency, we're tuning into that station, like Tesla said. So we want to tune into the right station, but it's almost like there's two realities overlapping each other. So that's why, especially at this time, you want to really hold that positive mindset. So anything else you want to end today's tremendous?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think it's necessary or important for us to remain open and to be not to be vulnerable, right? Being vulnerable allows you to be open, not in the sense where you're getting hurt with stuff, but allow things to challenge your ideas of what you've learned, because once you do that, then you could always question and grow upon what you know already, and then take in new information. So I think that's something that's very important.
Yeah. And that's, you know, what, you know, people like us do. We lived a regular life. I think a lot of people see people on the TV or on YouTube or something, and you think that you have to be such a fancy like guru, but you know, we were just, we were two cheese from Brooklyn growing up, and, right. And, you know, we kind of started going down this path. So I feel, especially with the new energies this year and moving forward, more and more people will, you know, expand their consciousness, and more things will be revealed. And it's really about, you know, navigating the waves of change. So appreciate everyone that tuned into this one. If you haven't done so already, please, could you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to this channel, Our Everyday Lives. Check out Adam Gell. Also the longest YouTube name conversation.
I was thinking about shortening it as I was driving here. So you got to put in the chat if I should change it or not.
Yeah. We'll make a vote if he should change his YouTube
Adam
name.
Gell and Inspiring Minds, or keep it the way it is. Conversations like that.
Yeah. His link will be in the description. If you're new to the channel, tonight we'll be coming back on. We do a Friday night live stream. We're gonna recap this entire week and where we're headed to next week. We do this every Friday night. So I love you all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Comment down below if you have had any experiences. Maybe you saw UFOs. Maybe you travel up and down the coast searching for UFOs, like this guy here. Do you have like a telescope that you bring with?
No, I didn't bring it this time. I actually have my cameras with a tripod, so it allows you to capture low light photography. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and to share, you do photography too. He had his camera out on the beach yesterday. It did look like, I don't know what it was. It was tremendous. He got this picture of the pelican. I saw the pelican was like 500 feet away. You saw all the details.
Big zoom lens, and I love photography. I think it's such an intriguing hobby to capture a time in a moment in time, right? To be able to stop something for the moment and then reflect back on it, and then have that moment in front of you.
Yeah. So I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate everyone that tuned in. So check out Adam's channel. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. Check out the channel page. We had a very powerful week, a lot of powerful messages. We do a lot of different things here. So we have a lot more stuff planned. I told you all we have a lot of new things coming up, and we will be back on tonight. So make sure you hit the bell and the subscribe button, and that notification will come back up tonight. And I will see you all then, and bye for now.